How's it, guys? Change of scenery today. It is Monday, the 6th of September, and we are changing up a little bit on the channel. Yeah, say it like that, I suppose. Look, I'm new to this whole vlogging type of thing, but we thought, you know, because of the sponsors and stuff like that that we have on board, Ryan Pereira Motors, Style Tune Cape Town, Dr. Detailer. So we were thinking of why not give you guys a little bit of insights as to what is happening inside the workshops. So today I came out to, as you can see, Ryan Pereira Motors, and we're gonna see, actually they got a phone call from them, and they're busy with a 135 at the moment, doing a WATERMETH kit and fitting front mount intercooler. So why not get into it and see if, because I know there's a lot of questions, does meth actually work? You know, what does the meth actually do? So I think today is a great opportunity for us to go step into the workshop and see what's happening there. And then obviously iced coffee, McDonald's, I want a sponsor. But yeah, let's go see what's happening inside the workshop. Okay, let's go see what's happening. They're quite busy. And there's the beast standing there. Yeah, there's my car. As you guys can see, we're busy doing some alterations on it. Stepped into a few hiccups on the car, but yeah, it's in very good hands at the moment. So let's go see what Vaughan is busy getting up to. And here it is, 135, as you guys can see. Few modifications onto it. Vaughan. Vaughan. Let's see what's happening here. There's so much wire here. It is insane. Like all of this. Look at this, bro. That's like it's busy with the engine swap. Bro, what is this? 2-liter 8-valve swap. See, so yeah, I almost fell now. So yeah, you can see engine swaps also gets done here at Ryan Pereira Motors. But we're here for this. So yeah, basically everything is getting laid out, as you guys can see. And then we are going to follow up and see how the process is going. And what we're going to do is we're also going to put the car on the dyno and see what difference the WATERMETH actually makes. Yeah, and then we will catch up with Vaughan and he can give us some more insight when everything is laid in. Because it's going to take him, how long is it going to take you to put all this wires in?
It takes a day.
Just to do the wiring?
Yeah, to do it 100% properly and neatly.
So a whole day just to do, but obviously to do it nice and neat.
Yes,
that's the way to do it.
About 2 to 3 hours.
So yeah, we're going to catch up with Vaughan in say about, well, a couple of hours and then see how far everything is. And yeah, and then we can chat to him and we can give you guys some more insights from his side with regards to the whole meth kit. So yeah, let's leave Vaughan to it and then we'll catch up with him a little bit later. Okay, so 135 has been, there's a stock file, so there you guys can hear it. Still sounds flipping nice for 135 stock. Well, obviously with some of the mods on, we're going to do a stock run and then we're going to see what it does. Stock file, not too bad for stock 135. So now for Vaughan to add the software on the car and see. Okay guys, so as you guys saw with the 135 that we have caught up with Vaughan, so everything is finished on the car and now we are joined by Ryan Pereira. He's the owner of Ryan Pereira Motors and manager Stealth Tune Cape Town. I don't know how to...
Yeah, we're the franchise owners for Stealth Tune in Cape Town. We've been around for about 6 or 7 years. The previous owner, Ruan Maria, bless his soul, passed away 4 years ago. I since bought the franchise from him and we've just gone from strength to strength.
Okay, so as you guys can see, I am wearing... They are sponsoring the channel. As you guys saw with the previous videos, it's always a thanks to Stealth Tune Cape Town and Ryan Pereira Motors. But the reason why we're here today is to find out, does WATERMETH actually work? So I want to give it off to Ryan. He's going to explain to us, there's a few questions, but I think you can give us more of an idea of what is WATERMETH and what does it actually do to the car?
So the answer to the question is yes, it does help. And it can help in naturally aspirated engines as well as turbocharged engines. We mostly use it on turbocharged engines because we want to see the best benefit of WATERMETH installed on a car. And there are many forms of water methanol as far as kits goes. There's many different brands that are available. We choose to use Cool Boost. They're very good systems. They've got all the fail safes that are necessary. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of water methanol systems causing hydrolock. In the systems we use, we have many fail safes that will prevent that from happening, such as solenoids, and when you turn the ignition off, the system is completely off and not running on standby all the time. But back to the question, WATERMETH, the main purpose of water methanol is to spray an atomized solution of methanol and distilled water into the intake of the car, into the combustion chamber, so that it can absorb the heat, lower temperatures, and prevent detonation. And at the same time, allowing the ECU to advance as much timing as possible, which is normally requested by your tuner, for example. So if your tuner would request 15 degrees timing advance under full throttle at a certain RPM, you would want the engine to be able to advance as much timing as possible. And with hotter temperatures, the ECU's job is to protect the engine. It will automatically pull back timing, and that's why you hear about some people talking about timing pull. Timing pull, the engine can only handle for a certain amount. After that, it starts detonating. And detonation is when your piston is on the way to the top, and the fuel pre-ignites before the piston gets to the top. That causes that clunky sound that you get when you're going up a hill in your old naturally aspirated car. You were going up a steep hill in 4th gear and you hear this tin of coins rattling. That's what detonation is. So water methanol cools down the intake temperatures tremendously. Sometimes we see 40 degrees temperature drops, and we would never tune a car for water methanol. In other words, we don't want to only rely on the water methanol to safeguard your engine. We would always have water methanol on the car to allow us to advance more timing when the temperatures are hot. So if your temperatures are 35 degrees outside, you want the engine to be able to run at its optimum continuously. Without water methanol, your intake temperatures go skyrocket and the ECU pulls back timing, in turn dropping power. And in some of the later model cars, the ECU is able to close the throttle body as well as drop boost as a safety measure to prevent the engine from detonating. Depending on the engine size, capacity, and how many cylinders you have, it will determine what size nozzle you would need to spray into your intake. And that is very important as well. You don't want to overspray methanol. Overspraying methanol will cause it to kill the plugs, for example. So having just the right amount of methanol sprayed in does make a difference. And that's why we use the Dyno to do live logging. It makes a huge difference with live logging, choosing the correct nozzle. So we get the optimum performance out of the methanol injection system.
I think that's why everyone comes to you all the time, as they're saying that you're the method guru. Because I mean, how many people came here to the shop and obviously asking you, Ryan, please come, like I installed the WATERMETH, let's say at the very tuner, they come to you, it's like, just please get it to me at the right. Because obviously there's a way that if you, like you mentioned, like it oversprays or if you don't have enough. So that obviously causes also, like you're saying, like all the detonations and all those things.
Yeah, so we set the methanol at a certain, or to start spraying at a certain boost level. There's many different ways of spraying methanol, by throttle position. We choose to use boost as a measure, and the reason for that is every time you come off the throttle and the boost drops below a specified amount, the methanol system stops spraying. So we choose to use a progressive methanol kit on the M135, which allows us to set a start point of the methanol spraying, and then also a point where the system must spray at its full capacity. So for example, we would start the methanol to spray and start trickling at about 0.8 bar, also depending on the size of the engine and the turbocharger, how much boost we're running on the car. So we started at about 0.8 bar, and we choose for the system to start spraying at maximum capacity at about 1.4 bar, again depending on how much we're boosting the car.
Okay, so now with all that, you know, the whole explanation that you now obviously like gave us with the M135, and we've showed you guys how, well, we showed the video of with just the mods on, with no file, no WATERMETH. Then after that, with the software was still with no WATERMETH, and then we saw a big jump with the WATERMETH on it. So like, I know this is probably going to sound sort of stupid, and I'm sure that you guys are probably going to give me a lot of hate for this, but there are a few guys like thinking that it works like nitrous in a sense. Not saying it does, but sort of, because you have that extra gain. Like if you, like let's say, like for argument's sake, you have now a Golf 7R with stage 2 plus software on, what are the gains that you can expect if you add a stage 2 progressive kit on?
It's very difficult to say what gains you're going to get from methanol. The testing that we did with the M135 is, when we had it on the dyno without the methanol working with our tune file on, we did a few consecutive runs on the car and saw the intake temperatures dropping. Immediately after switching the WATERMETH on, we saw a big power gain, firstly because the car was warm, and you know, the car not being able to advance, call it 15 degrees timing, it's only advancing by 10 degrees timing. You already see a 10-15 kilowatt drop in power by doing these consecutive runs, and it's a perfect example of going to Kalani down the track. You do 3 or 4 consecutive runs down the strip, and then you wait for your car to cool down, and then the last run in the afternoon, when the air is nice and chilly but the track's still warm enough, you do your best time. And I'm not saying it's just this, but most of the time it's probably because your car is nice and cool, the intake temps have dropped down nicely, and you've got cold air coming into the engine. So to have that consistently, water methanol is the answer.
And because I know obviously with my car, there's a few things that we're doing different. When you do WATERMETH, is it a must that you have to do, like you mentioned, the 50-50 or the 70-30? Is it a must that you have to dilute it with the water?
So you get to a certain point with methanol where your car doesn't need 100% methanol. You can mix it with distilled water, up to 50-60%.
You can't use normal tap water.
No, tap water with all the metals in it, you are going to destroy the pump eventually. And we always suggest using distilled water. It works far better as well. We see better results. Some of you might want to know why we've got this OB1 sitting in front of us. Number one, we do stock it. The second thing is that methanol tends to work similar to OB1 or any other octane booster that works out there. OB1 is doing a very similar job to what water methanol is doing. It's keeping the octane higher, which in turn prevents detonation. The only difference is with water methanol, you've got something spraying into your intake which is ice cold and causing temperatures to drop.
So like what is the aim, or not say aim, but when you have WATERMETH in, what is the best temperature, basically the intake temp, that let's say is your peak that you guys are looking for when you do WATERMETH? Because I mean, I noticed like on my car we used to run, I think I've seen it 45 degrees and up, and then with WATERMETH we used to get it down to between 8 degrees. So what is the actual, I won't say perfect temp, because I don't think there is a perfect temp, but what is a perfect temp in your guys?
I wouldn't say there's a perfect temperature, there's a perfect log. The perfect log is 0 degrees timing pull, and your car's advancing as much timing as you requested to do on the ECU. Yes, temperatures at 15 degrees or a little bit lower are very good. You see on nitrous oxide cars where they spray a shot of gas and the intake manifold looks like it's got ice crystals on it.
Yes,
it's ice cold. So it's pretty much the same principle. The colder the air, the more dense it is, and the more fuel you can add, the more power you can make.
That is actually so crazy, because I obviously, like I said, there's a lot of guys who's saying that, yeah, like it sort of works like nitros, like, but like the way you're explaining now, it sort of sounds like it does, but it's not that. So don't quote me on that, and don't put hate comments down.
No, methanol, water methanol injection is not the same as nitrous oxide.
So, and now can you add, so like you mentioned, you obviously you have the one nozzle. Can you add more than one nozzle to it?
You can add as many nozzles as you like based on how many cylinders you have. So for example, on a 4-cylinder engine, if you've got a big turbo setup and you want to get an optimum amount of methanol spraying into each cylinder, you could pretty much drill a hole in each port of the intake manifold and let it spray into each port with a very small nozzle instead of a bigger nozzle spraying into all 4.
So it will basically work exactly the same?
Yeah, it will give you an equal amount of spray in each cylinder. And a perfect example is on a 5-cylinder like the RS3s. The last cylinder is the one that usually suffers the most, cylinder 5. And by putting a secondary nozzle closer to cylinder 5, you get an even distribution of the methanol spraying into all cylinders and better cooling.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. And okay, last question. So with the power and everything like that you guys have accomplished on the 135 now, is that you guys happy with that? And if so, is there more to be done to the car?
Look, we can always add more power. It's all about how much the fueling system can handle, how much the turbocharger can handle, how much boost the turbocharger can hold at red line. and then again how much the motor can handle. We all know those motors are good, the motors can handle quite a bit of power. So the client's next upgrade is actually a hybrid turbocharger, and we'll see what we get.
Yeah, I think we'll catch up on that. I'm sure we'll get a phone call again when they start doing the installation. As you guys saw that the cooler is already there, so that cooler obviously will benefit. With
that will cater for the hybrid turbo as well. It's more than big enough.
So yeah, I think Ryan has mentioned everything or answered all the questions that we might have had. I will leave Ryan's details, everything down in the description box below for you guys. If there's anything like I mentioned before, servicing, repairs, modifications, tuning, octane, methanol, ethanol, you name it, like injector testing, Ryan Pereira Motors, they do it all. So if you guys have any questions or if you guys are going to get in contact with them, I will leave all the details down in the description box below. It won't be the last time you'll see Ryan. We're going to go nag him more and more and more. And with all the questions and everything like that, I think we will answer them, and I think Ryan will answer them for us. So yeah, I just want to say thanks for everyone for watching, and thanks to Ryan Pereira Motors and Style Tune Captain for inviting me to come and see how everything works and eventually answering the question of how WATERMETH works. So yeah guys, I think if you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. Also go check out Ryan Pereira Motors and Style Tune Cape Town on Instagram and on Facebook. Go follow what they do. They do regular updates on a daily basis of what they are up to, and come pay them a visit and see what they get up to yet again. Says I sound like. So yeah guys, thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys on the next one with something special that they're inviting me to. So I'll see you guys soon.